Good afternoon and welcome to this extended edition of the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Hurricane Melissa to make landfall later today. Thieves struck as Hurricane Melissa lashes the island. And later in sports, reggae girls face Trinidad and Tobago in international friendly. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Simpson. Here are the details. We begin this afternoon with the latest from the Met Service on Hurricane Melissa. The center of the hurricane is 180 kilometers west-southwest of Kingston, or 120 kilometers south of Negril Point. It is moving toward the north-northeast near 5 miles per hour. Now, according to the Met Service, a slow turn toward the northeast with an increase in forward speed is expected later today. On the forecast track, Hurricane Melissa is expected to make landfall today. Meanwhile, Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, says the entire island has now started to feel the effects of Hurricane Melissa. This, he says, is especially for western and southern Jamaica.
We recognize that the system has not yet made landfall. The center is still some distance away from the coastline, just about 70 to 75 kilometers from the southwestern coastline, and it is still moving toward the north-northeast. So it is moving closer and closer to the coastline of Jamaica. I mentioned that it has been moving slowly, but it has been moving a little bit faster than it was previously, because it's now moving at 11 kilometers per hour. That's just about 7 miles per hour. And it is expected to make that turn to be more in a direction, moving in a direction toward the northeast, which is a slight shift toward the east, more so than it is going at this time. In the meantime, when it makes landfall, which is expected, as you can see in this image here, to be somewhere near parity in western St. Elizabeth, that's somewhat to the east of Black River. So it will most likely make landfall in the western part of St. Elizabeth rather than in the eastern part of Westmoreland. And then it will continue moving toward the northeast. That is the direction of movement that is expected. It will continue over the northern part of St. Elizabeth and then move into southern Trelawney. And the exit is expected to be somewhere in Trelawney rather than in St. Anne.
In terms of rainfall, Mr. Thompson says that has also reduced.
Jamaica's central parishes are most at risk and extending into the west of the island as well. And then some slightly lower figures are expected for the rest of the island, but still significant rainfall. 12 to 16 inches, 300 to 400 millimeters is nothing to scoff at. It's still a lot of rainfall, still expected to produce significant flooding. You might be saying that this system doesn't seem to be packing much of a punch because what you've been experiencing outside doesn't seem to be worthy of all the hurrah that we're creating about the system. But the truth is it is still some distance away from the coast, expected to move closer and then move across the island, and that means that the impacts are going to be significantly greater than you've already been experiencing.
Now, as strong winds and heavy rains continue to pound the island from Hurricane Melissa, power within a number of communities across the island is out. Shamila Pullen reports.
More than 200,000 JPS customers are currently without power across the island. This as Hurricane Melissa continues to make its way to land.
As of now, we're having outages right across the island as a result of hurricane force winds, and we have some lightning that has impacted our transmission and distribution network. So some customers in several parishes, actually all parishes, are affected, some more than others. As of now, we have maybe about 30-35% of our customers without electricity. That's about 240,000 customers as of now. The situation is fluid, as persons will experience, some persons will get back their power as our teams continue to hold the system together. However, in St. Elizabeth, Manchester, St. James, and Hanover, we have very high levels of outages as a result of the impact of the hurricane force winds on the transmission and distribution system. So most customers in those 4 parishes are without power. Other parishes are affected. In fact, all parishes are affected.
The Light and Power Company says the system performed better in eastern parishes.
But over in the east, we have been spared somewhat with St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, and sections of St. Catherine actually not experiencing outages at all. Those are the parishes that are least affected right now.
The JPS says that crews are monitoring conditions closely and will begin restoration work as soon as it is safe to do so. Meanwhile, the National Water Commission is warning that it may be forced to shut down some water supply systems to protect critical infrastructure. It says the intense rainfall associated with Hurricane Melissa could overwhelm the system in several areas across the island.
What it causes is a lot of turbidity, which is when the water gets too muddy, carries too much silt and debris, and that forces shutdown of the water supply system. The other reality in this case is a lot of breeze, a lot of wind, which comes with the water, causes flooding, and is also causing a disruption in the power supply. Now, yes. So we have this unenviable task of mixing electricity and water because we need electricity in some form to run the pumps, but we are harnessing and distributing water. But it gets to a point where if the electrical equipment is at the risk of flooding, then it could cause significant damage, sometimes irreparable damage. At a time like this, the best and most precautionary step is to shut the system down, and then we safeguard it until the system, in this case, the hurricane passes.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Less than 50% of JPS customers are currently without electricity. The update came from Energy Minister Daryl Vaz at a press conference earlier today. Our reporter Andrea Chisholm was there and now joins us live. Andrea?
Thank you very much, Kerry. Well, as expected, the electricity grid has been impacted by Hurricane Melissa. 240,000 or 35% of the roughly 700,000 JPS customers have no power. The parishes mainly affected are St. Elizabeth, Manchester, St. James and Hanover. But Energy Minister Daryl Vaz said there is no plan to shut down the grid. He also gave an update on the least affected parishes, and those include Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas and St. Catherine. Most hospitals have electricity except those in Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Minister Vaz also gave this update on the telecommunications sector.
I'll start with Digicel. 26% of mobile network is offline, predominantly due to the widespread loss of power. There's a further 209 sites run batteries. For fiber to home customers, we are seeing 20% customers offline due to no power in their homes. For Flow, I'm happy to say that Liberty Caribbean, operators of Flow, Jamaica and Liberty Business, is committed to playing its part for Jamaica to recover quickly from the inevitable damage following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Again, with the spectrum that they have received, they will be bringing a new innovation, mobile connectivity via satellite, and facilitates SMS and text messages to areas affected in the aftermath of the storm.
Let's turn to shelters. 382 of the over 800 shelters are occupied, and they are housing approximately 6,000 persons. Now, based on the information received from Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie, the shelters in Clarendon have the highest number of occupants at 865. Minister McKenzie also gave this update.
We are having reports of widespread impact across several parishes, which are seeing increased number of land slippage, flooding, fire, storm surge, and power outage. Roads in St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Catherine were blocked by fallen trees, poles, landslides, and most of these have been clear. And I want to make the point that the team that are on the road, the roving teams that have been pre-positioned, have been responding. Once the report is sent to the team, they are out there actually doing the work.
Now, the government has indicated it is already looking at recovery efforts after Hurricane Melissa. Information Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon made this important announcement.
Just noting that I'm very, very pleased this morning to announce the launch of our Support Jamaica website. It is supportjamaica.gov.jm. We've already been made aware of some nefarious individuals trying to collect money on behalf of Jamaica. We remind you that this will be the official site. If it doesn't have .gov.jm, it is not legitimate. It's not an official Government of Jamaica site.
That's the very latest from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency, ODPEM, and we'll give you more information as it becomes available. It's back to you in studio, Kerry.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Continuing the news, the Black River Hospital in St. Elizabeth is currently without electricity as strong winds continue to affect the parish. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton spoke to TVJ's Shimala Pullen a short while ago with an update on the situation there.
I'm at the Emergency Operating Center, just had a meeting with the team across the country and the team here. The rains have intensified and the wind in the parish, in a few parishes, but St. Elizabeth being the ground zero right now, electricity is off, and there seems to be an issue at Black River Hospital related to the generator. Apparently something fell on the generator and may have damaged it, and so the generator backup system is down. I've asked the team to mobilize quickly to see what can be done to rectify that situation. We had triggered the surge plan for Black River, which is to move out some of the staff and put others on the higher ground. There are about 75 patients there and staff supporting them, but the lack of power clearly would be an issue. Some of the roads are impassable as we understand it, so the team is trying to assess and trying to resolve the issue as we speak.
As Hurricane Melissa meanders out at sea, fishermen from Grandspen in St. Thomas are reeling in a final feast in a pre-storm cooking lime. But as Jamila Maitland reports, the municipal corporation is worried that some residents are not taking the warnings seriously.
Roast fish crackle on a grill in Grandspen, St. Thomas. A small band of fishermen defying the forecast, firing up their last supper before Hurricane Melissa is expected to make landfall. For these men, neither rain, wind, nor rising sea level can spoil their appetite or vibes.
I've seen it worse than this before, where the water already exceeded and come all the way inland. It's still out there, but we're expecting it to rise. So everybody's in evacuation mode, we're just watching.
Among them is Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas, James Robertson.
We're with the young people at this time, and they are now ready. They are mobilized now to do whatever is necessary to protect their community.
There was no mandatory evacuation for Grandspen as of Monday, October 27. But the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation says the high tides and the proximity to homes are alarming.
It's about 10 steps from the house to the sea, because the sea coming in, take away the land and come in. Out of every 50 waves, I guess like 5 touch the house.
As if foaming at the mouth, the threat of Hurricane Melissa is palpable for residents of Grandspen, a small coastal community in St. Thomas. Now, residents told us that just last week they were able to walk along the beach comfortably, but now, just by being here, they risk being swept away. Now, while some people have evacuated, others have decided to just wait and see.
Well, me have a boat, me have a engine, me have a lot of things to secure. Yes, sir.
Based on even talking now, the sea look very rough.
Yeah, normally, all the others are some. The water that reach around the house already. It don't. It don't.
Having braved many storms on land and at sea, Otis Johnson says he isn't overly worried about Hurricane Melissa. But even this seasoned fisherman admits that he does have a go bag just in case. As for another resident who didn't want to be identified,
I already leave my home in St. Anne and come up here. So I never leave there, so again I go to a shelter. I just stuff it out.
the woman says she journeyed with her children from St. Anne following the initial forecast that Hurricane Melissa was expected to hit central Jamaica.
Because it's a concrete structure, we feel that we would be more safe, but better with the chance it's not our boardhouse in St. Anne. Because the sea is behaving real bad.
In the meantime, this warning from the MP.
If you know your community, you know your vulnerability, you need to deal with that as we speak. There are communities like Grandspen, these young men can reach safety in less than 5 minutes. Will they be able to get out the elderly? They should move them out now.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
And our reporter Dwayne Anderson is in Clarendon and now reports.
My correspondent and I, we've made a judgment call, people. This particular area is the main road that leads to Kemsale and surrounding areas, the Alley Bridge, etc. But we've been driving on this particular road for the better part of about 5 minutes now, and all we can see is water, and it's getting deeper and deeper. So we've decided to make a judgment call. We're not going to risk it any further, because the rain is pounding down, it's getting harder with each passing minute, and the road appears to be flooded as far as the eye can see and as far as we're coming from. So we're going to make a judgment call. This particular area is not that deep, so we're going to turn right here and exit. We'll perhaps return to this community once this weather system subsides. I can count on one hand the number of motor vehicles we've encountered here on the streets of Clarendon this morning. Clearly a lot of motorists are taking heed and are staying home until this weather system passes. I can perhaps make a guess that most of the people we've seen on the road are perhaps essential workers, or perhaps even curious media workers like myself. The water I'm standing in right now, just above ankle height. It has receded a little bit compared to earlier this morning and even last night, where we heard it was above knee height. The weather system is now beginning to pick up again. As you can see, the rain is coming down with a little bit more ferocity. So we do imagine that within a few hours, this area may be flooded to a higher level again, perhaps getting back up to knee height. But another thing to take into consideration, this particular area, the Portland Bight area, parts of Kemsale and the surrounding areas, Alley, it is known for crocodiles. So residents have to also be wary of that potential threat. The more the water comes down and go into their habitat and disturb them, we could very well find a situation where they make their way out here onto the streets and into contact with humans. Reporting from Kemsale in Clarendon, I'm Dwayne Anderson for TVJ News.
Thank you, Dwayne. Now, ahead of the arrival of Hurricane Melissa on Monday, volunteers from Global Empowerment Missions in South Florida sent packaging aid boxes for Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa is expected to make landfall today. The aid boxes with non-perishable food items and other donations will be delivered to the island once conditions are safe. And And as the outer bands of Hurricane Melissa continues to affect sections of the island, thieves have struck again, this time in Boscobel, St. Mary. TVJ News understands that the culprits forced their way into a bar, smashing windows and making off with more than $600,000 worth of alcohol. The Aracobesa police were alerted and an investigation is now underway. In the meantime, residents are expressing frustration at the Jamaica Public Service for not replacing a defective light pole in the area. The pole eventually gave way, leaving several homes without electricity. And residents are warning motorists and unsuspecting individuals to avoid the Grand Spend Gully in St. Andrew. Our reporter Janella Perseus visited the area earlier and filed this report.
Okay, so we are currently in Grand Spend. This is what the gully looks like now, and it is just a little before 8 a.m. and this is what it looks like now. From all indications, you can tell that the water is rising. Blue, let's walk over here. The water is rising here at the Grand Spend Gully, and it is one of these places that people or that motorists often use. But as we speak, it is not safe to do so. We met a gentleman from Grand Spend. His name is Mr. Chin. Now, Mr. Chin, I saw you telling a motorist to turn back. Do you find that a lot of people are still trying to drive?
You have a lot of people trying to pass through, think them can pass, but them cannot pass through. Because the water is not normal right now at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been living in Grand Spend for how long?
For about 30 odd years.
30 odd years. Tell me what happens when, it becomes impossible here.
When it comes, nothing can pass, not even a trailer can pass, nothing. Anything come across, the water, the up here, sir. The water up on the roadside.
All the way up to there?
Yeah, right up here.
Okay, Blue, just show them where he says that the water goes up to. So it moves from there and it comes onto the roadside.
Yeah, way up on the road.
Now, we have a Category 5 hurricane that will make landfall in the coming hours. How do you feel about, what is likely to happen and pretty much,
I hope nothing not happen. We just have to give God thanks and hope for the best. Yeah.
Now, whole heap of people live on the gully bank. Have they been preparing for the storm?
Most of them say storm not come, but we have to just watch to see the outcome.
So pretty much you won't be sleeping tonight?
No, we can't sleep now because we have outside that trying to help the two local people and I want a strength. Yeah.
Did you sleep last night because it was very windy,
Yeah, I take a look at sleep, but I jump up and go up the tree outside, and still now, I'm still outside. Yeah.
And we now head to Manchester to our reporter Romardo Lyons with the latest.
Unrelenting rain and powerful winds. That's the order of the day in Mandeville, Manchester. And as you can see along this roadway, you don't need to be told, it has been transformed into a lake. This is the road that leads to the Mandeville Regional Hospital. Now, this vehicle has been stuck here for about 3 to 4 hours. The driver nowhere to be found, but the police have been patrolling the area. Now, the Southern Regional Health Authority has since issued an advisory to the public. It reads, the roadway to the front gate of the Mandeville Regional Hospital is flooded and alternate access can be gained through the gate at Hargreaves Avenue at Cecil Charlton Hall. And more signs of damage. Right now we are at the Mandeville Plaza, and as you can see, fallen trees. Not one, but two. And this one right here is very massive. It's a large tree. It shows the power or the force of the wind rather. Over here we have some vehicles parked for shelter, but I'm not sure if that will be much protection for them.
Yeah, right now we're at the Manchester School and we go up to our centre because there is no bus at our centre. And the next man come up you call and go away because no food is not here. No drinking water. So there's 2 of us left here right now And hopefully many more will come after the breeze cool down, you know? You understand? But right now, nothing there for nobody. Nobody come right now, no bedding, no blanket, nothing there. We just need some share and something and make some bed, you know?
We'll continue to monitor the situation here in Mandeville, Manchester. I mean, we may have to head to safety for a while for now, as things are starting to get more hectic. But I'll let you know when I have any updates. For now, it's back to you in studio.
And news just in, Principal Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, has confirmed that Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in Jamaica. Currently, areas within St. Elizabeth are facing the brunt of the Category 5 hurricane. Worry in sections of Berrydale, Portland this afternoon as persistent rainfall continues to pelt the parish. Our reporter Anthony Lugg filed this report.
Rafts are clinging on to dear life in the Rio Grande, in the community of Berrydale here in East Portland. The river is raging at this time as constant rainfall continues to pelt this parish. Now I'm going to ask my videographer to walk with me as I show you what's happening. Now, earlier this morning, the water here, this is how far it came. That's where the water is now. But I must tell you that the water came all the way to here. It's a testament of the amount of rainfall being felt here in the parish of Portland.
Well, I feel nervous, but we button down, Yeah, we button down and we're just waiting for the best, when I expect nothing bad to come out of this hurricane.
So just across the river is another community. On a typical day, residents would use the raft that are lined along here to make their way in and out of the community. But with the river now raging, they're unable to do so. I've been speaking with residents on this side of the community, and they say the others on that side are trapped.
There's a lot of people over there who can't come across neither. Yeah, them in a difficulty, so they would need little assistance, food stuff and stuff like that.
You're in contact with anybody over there from morning or from yesterday?
No, we can't get to call them because them phone, them power run out,
Reporting from Berrydale in Portland, I'm Anthony Lugg for TVJ News.
Thank you, Anthony. Now, just before we head to a quick break, a few videos from our friends on social media. Our first video comes from Southfield, St. Elizabeth. Here, we see heavy rain associated with intense winds happening. And as we said earlier, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall, and so the winds are picking up. Our next video comes from Jackshill in St. Andrew. Here we are seeing minor land slippage. We're using this opportunity to encourage residents to stay inside. Here we have a resident pointing out the extent of the landslide. And then over in Savannah Lamar, this video is coming from Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, where we're definitely seeing intense winds and heavy rains happening. And for those of you just tuning in, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall. Where now our final video comes from Mandeville, Manchester, where they are experiencing rain and winds are definitely intensifying. All right, keep sending those videos to our WhatsApp number at 876-254-0693. That's 876-254-0693. And please indicate your name so we can give you credit. Midday Sports is on the other side of this break. Do stay with us.